good evening. The show will begin in a few moments, and we've got a packed show. And this week, we're not going to do the intro gag, but we will carry on with the gags next week. We're also broadcasting live on radiosoapbox.com and also radiowindmiller.com. Thank you very much, and on with the show. Good evening, and welcome to another exciting show. Which I've just said, but that was a recording, so I've just sodded it up, haven't I? So there we go. So welcome to Wayne, who's going to be our tarot reader tonight. And first of all, I've got a call out to do. I'd like to thank very much the Kingston Whittler. Thank you so much. Made a contribution to the show. Buy me a coffee, which details are down below in the comment section. So thank you, Kingston Whittler. Got it right. Whittler, it's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Now, on with the show. Now, we've got people waiting in the green room to come on, and Wayne is going to do a intro, first of all, and then we'll get on with the first reading. And you can actually, if you go onto my Telegram channel, Facebook channel, there's a link into the studio there if you would like your tarot read free of charge. So far away, Wayne, over to you.
That's putting me on the spot, isn't it? Hi everyone.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, where I thought we'd start is just talk a little bit about what the tarot are and a little bit about the history. And we've got a couple of things to put up on the screen, haven't we? As we go, we'll go through things as quickly as possible because what we really want to do recently, and we've already got some people waiting, haven't we? As you said, is to do some readings and take some calls. If you haven't thought about it already, if you are going to call in later, just have a think about either an area of your life which you might like to focus on, or a particular question, and then we'll see where we go. I mean, obviously we've got, maybe got 10 minutes or so we'll do what we can, but it does help if you just try and have something in mind that you want to focus on a little bit. All right. Now the tarot, I mean, what does the tarot consist of? I don't know if anyone, the tarot is 78 cards, and 56 of those are what we call minor arcana cards. Arcana being mystery or secrets, and they correspond to the playing cards, the ordinary playing cards, with the addition of a page, which makes 56 instead of your 52. And then we've got 22 major arcana, or major secret cards, or trumps, as they're sometimes called. And oh yeah, we could show that one. Those are actually the 22 trumps there. So I mean, and the trumps, well, the tarot in general, but particularly the trumps, they combine, different Kabbalistic symbols, astrology, numerology, because you've got the numbers on the cards, all of these different things. And everybody works differently, but what I do when I do readings is I use a combination of the symbolism and key meanings which I have for each card, and I use those as triggers. So sometimes when I'm talking, I might hear something just ahead of what I'm saying, or I might hear a phrase which takes me down a particular direction, or occasionally I might see a tarot card which isn't actually on the table in front of me. So that's how it tends to work with me. So what do we know about the history about the tarot? There's a lot which we There's not a great deal which we know as fact. Quite a lot of it is speculation, and the official history disagree. Is a little bit different to what the historians claim. But basically, the earliest tarot cards which were found, which we know for a fact existed, were in 15th century in Italy. And there are 15 decks known as the Visconti decks. And, some of those were only partial decks which were found, and some more complete than others. But they were thought to have been painted between 1440 and 1450, most likely by the same artist. And the reason we think that is because the card which they were painted on is almost identical. The paint is sometimes is pretty much identical across the decks, and also the style of painting as well. And there's fragments of a letter which discusses the painting of these decks between the guy that's commissioning them and an unknown artist which he's talking to. And there were some fragments of that letter which were found. Now, the oldest this is the Visconti deck. We've got these nice red backs to them, all right? And this is a reproduction of those cards from the mid 15th century. You see? And they commissioned as a wedding present for the daughter of the Duke of Milan. It was thought to be a wedding present, and all of these were hand painted. And if you think there was 15 different decks as well as apart from this, as well as this one, which was commissioned for the wedding. So if you think of the effort and the detail which must have gone into these to actually paint them, on small pieces of card, by hand. And what's interesting with these, if you see the card there, I think that's the 9 of rods. Now, originally, only the 22 trumps had actual pictures on them. The minor arcana cards originally, just like the playing cards, just had pips, to use a playing card term. So that's the rods there, which corresponds to clubs in the playing cards, and that's the fire element. And then we've got coins, which is the same as diamonds in the playing cards, which is the earth element. We've got swords, which is the same as spades, which is the air element and the intellect. And what's the one I missed out there, Chris? Was it hearts? Yeah, hearts. Yeah, can you hear me, Chris? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I kept my microphone muted. I'm terribly sorry. That's my fault. I've been adjusting your microphone, and people have been saying it's been going funny, the sound. Well, I think your sound should be okay now, because you was a little bit too loud. I had a message come through from our sound person who said you're a bit loud, so I've adjusted your microphone down a little bit. Okay, so everything should be okay.
But you can hear me.
You. I can hear you. Yeah. Okay, carry on. I think everybody.
So I got a bit thrown there because I saw your mouth moving. I didn't know whether you were speaking to me or not.
No, I normally do that. Some people say I talk out my backside, but I was at that time. You see, so there we go.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So you've got the the coins, the rods, the swords, and the cups there. Which correspond to the
Mm-hmm.
the playing cards, the spades, the diamonds, the hearts, and
Mm-hmm.
the clubs. All right. So the next in where are we going now? Yeah, in 1781. All right. So the most significant, the next significant date after the mid 1500s there, 1400s, is 1781, when Antoine de Gebelin claimed a connection with the tree of life, with the Kabbalistic tree of life, and also with ancient Egypt. Now, have you got? I just mentioned, briefly the tree of. Have you got that diagram of the tree of life?
Yes, just one moment. Just bear with me just one moment. Yeah, it's coming up now. Here it is. Sorry, I'll just answering some messages here. So please carry on. Okay, that's a tree of life. I just popped it up there.
Yeah. Sorry, I had something on my screen there I had to get rid of. Yeah. So the best way to see this is as a psychologists, believe it's more to do with the subconscious, where mystics, who originally came up with this, see it more as a map of the astral planes. All right. So you've got 10 different spheres or seperith, joined up by 22 different paths. Now, what de Gebelin noticed and what others noticed, in the late 18th century, is that people who had been doing meditations and path working, over centuries, had all been seeing the tarot. They'd been seeing the same images that were on the tarot cards when they were journeying along the astral planes. So this is a pictorial diagram of those astral journeys which people were taking during path working and meditations. But the Gebelin noticed that these images which were on the tarot cards were very similar to what people had been seeing when they were actually taking these journeys. So what he did then is he officially placed the tarot cards onto that diagram. Now, the other thing was that he said that he believed that because these images had been going back so early in history, he said it was likely that the tarot and the tarot's wisdom had its links in ancient Egypt, which historians have always denied because they don't actually have any physical cards before the 15th century. But of course, just because there aren't any physical cards before the 15th century doesn't mean to say that none of them actually existed. The other thing was as well, historians said, well, how can you do tarot readings when they didn't have card in Egypt? They only had papyrus paper, which is a little bit of a silly thing to say, because there's several ways you can actually do tarot readings without actually pictures being on card. I mean, the obvious thing would be to just to lie the papyrus, have down on the table, and have someone who is having a reading just tap the back of the papyrus papers. That's just one obvious way. And de Gebelin and others also thought it was more likely that the 22 trumps came first instead of what the historians were saying, which was the minor arcana was coming first. He seemed to think it made more sense that the trumps came first, and then the minor arcana, the suits, were added later. and then the trumps were later dropped to give us the playing cards which we have today. So pretty much the opposite way around to what the official, to what to the official story of the tarot. But to me, that's always made sense. Made more sense that the trumps did actually come first. Let's pop that pop that timeline back on the screen for me, Chris, if you would. Couple of years after, can you hear me all right? Yeah, a couple of years after de Gebelin, made these claims, tarot actually became, very popular. Because there was a mystic who went by the name of Etilia, which was thought to be an anagram, and he actually started to do readings publicly. And this is the first time that we know of that somebody actually, made a living through actually doing readings in a public format. It could well have gone on beforehand, but Atilia very much, took that out there to the wider public and, made it acceptable. And then in 1910, got some other cards. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Rider-Waite deck. A lot of people have heard of these. Have you heard of the Rider-Waite tarot at all, Chris?
No, never heard of it. No. Rider-Waite? No.
Yeah. I mean, along with the Thoth tarot, I mean, that's the probably the most famous tarot deck, in history. And that was designed in 1910 by Arthur Edward Waite and his artist and medium, Pamela Coleman Smith. And the reason the Rider-Waite deck is so important is because you see just trying to show you some cards here. You remember before I said that the minor arcana cards only had the pips.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what Pamela Coleman Smith did with Rider-Waite is she did pictures for the whole 78 card deck. So from 1910 onwards, the traditional tarot would have pictures for all and paintings for all 78 cards rather than just the 22 trumps. So she came out with all of these different images here. That's the Three of Wands. I think we can see there.
Okie dokie.
Rather than just having the 3 wands, you've actually got the image on the card there. And again, like people that had gone before her, she actually came up with these images for the minor arcana cards, again, whilst doing path working and doing meditations on the Tree of Life diagram or Tree of Life map that we saw before. So she created all these paintings here, which that's the Ace of Swords. Excuse me.
Squeeze you.
And then this is the deck. Sorry, Chris, what did you say?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said squeeze you. I don't think people want to squeeze you, do they?
I said, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
I said, yeah. No, I coughed. This is the excuse me. Yeah, this is the deck. That's the main deck which I've been using for many years, and this is called that's called the Morgan Greer deck, and this was designed by. These are the minor arcana cards of that. Well, we've actually got the 22. We showed that before, didn't we? Because we actually got the photograph there, the 22 trumps of this deck, haven't we?
Yes.
So the 22 trumps we showed before, and what we're showing you now. This is the main deck which I use, and that's the Morgan Greer tarot cards. and that was created in 1979. And it really is a beautiful deck. And the idea behind them was, it's one of the most popular decks after the Rider-Waite. Greer modeled these cards. Actually, he designed them based on the Rider-Waite deck, but he had some idea in his head. I don't know whether it's true or not, but the story goes that he believed that Pamela Coleman Smith, who designed the Rider-Waite cards, he said that she didn't get any recognition for her work, and he said in many respects she'd had quite a sad life, and he believed that was reflected in the somber colours on the Rider-Waite cards. And he did a lot of research into the psychology of colour and how we respond emotionally to different colours. So what he wanted to do when he designed the Morgan Greer deck was have really bright colours and make them very vibrant, which he certainly did. And also what he did was, when he designed the Morgan Greer, was he got rid of the traditional card borders to bring the images right up to the front of the card to make the pictures bigger. So that was a result of him doing that. And today there's over 300 tarot decks in publication at any one time, and probably several thousand decks, because some people design their own decks. Very often decks of tarot cards have short print runs, so it's difficult to place an exact number on them. But many of the decks are based around particular themes. That's the Lord of the Rings deck here, which is another one which I use. So obviously my old tarot teacher designed these based on the Lord of the Rings books. And they're a very clever deck, because whereas most theme tarot cards are very pretty to look at, they're not always that good to do readings with. Whereas what's so clever about the Lord of the Rings deck there is it cleverly combines the traditional meanings with the themes of with the different aspects of the Lord of the Rings story. And you've got these little this text which is on each card as well, which is from which is different passages from the Lord of the Rings. So that's a very nice deck as well. So that's just some different, yeah. There's just a chance for people to see some different decks there. So
excellent.
So we'll get on and do some readings in a moment. There's just one thing I just want to mention first.
People are chomping at the bit. They're waiting to come on. We've got a nice queue of people in the green room, so we're all waiting to come on. So, all super keen.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I just want to mention one thing which always comes up before we start, and then we'll see how we get on for time, and we'll get on and do some readings. But the obvious thing is people say, what does the tarot do? And can events and outcomes actually be foreseen? And the way I've always seen it, and the analogy which I've always given, is if you imagine a pebble or a stone, thrown into a pond. That's like a little bit of a rock here, and you throw it into a pond, and you get all the ripples coming out from the stone. Well, the actual throwing of that stone into the pond is the cause. It's the action. It's the decision which one makes. And where those ripples end up is the effect. And in a similar manner, there's something I call the domino effect. Did you ever, when you were a kid, Chris, ever line stand dominoes up on a carpet, put them in different lines? I was looking recently on the internet, and there's these incredible displays where there's literally thousands of dominoes
That's
all
right.
lined up on different
Mm.
lines. Yeah. And you knock the first one over, and obviously they all go along that line, very quickly and topple over one by one. Now, the same as a stone being thrown into the pond, the toppling over of that first domino is the cause. That's the decision you've made. And that last domino that falls over is the effect or the destination. Now, whether we're looking at our own lives or whether we're looking at, or whether people like Nostradamus are looking hundreds of years into the future, what I believe is happening is we're seeing we're seeing or feeling a vibration or seeing the potential outcome of a chain of events. It's like the future, where things are heading leaves a vibration. It leaves a pattern. It's like the ripples in the pond. So I hope that makes some kind of sense.
Certainly does.
Does that mean we can't? So does that mean we can't change things? Well, absolutely not. Because just like those dominoes which are toppling over, you put your hand down in the middle like this, and you'll stop them from falling. Or if you're going another direction and topple another domino over, you'll start another chain of events. So what
Right.
we're talking about here is obviously, cause and effect. What the
Mm.
tarot can do, and what other predictive tools can do, is help us to see where maybe we're going wrong, or maybe suggest different courses of action. But our future is always is ultimately always in our own hands, which is why my friend said, my tarot teacher, he said the tarot is at its best when it's used for guidance, when it's seen as a set of windows from which we can look at life from a different perspective. So so that's what we're going to try and do tonight,
Right.
and hopefully offer some guidance, and we'll see where we go. All right.
Right. Okay. So, shall we have the first person on for the reading? Shall we? Okay.
Yeah, we certainly can, but you're gonna have to let me have a little sip of my tea as well
That's
while we
right.
go. Who,
Well,
who's
it's good
who's up?
evening, Kitten. Good evening, Kitten.
Good evening.
And you're live on you're live on air, and just sort of remind you just to worry a little bit more. And now, don't worry. Now, I think we met Wayne in the sort of before we went on air, and so Wayne, do you want to start your would you like to just be with Kitten? Would you like me to blank my screen
I'm,
whilst you're doing a reading, or not?
I think you're all right. I think you're all right there, Chris, at the
I
moment.
won't put you off by sort of, as you know. So anyway,
All right.
so far
Um,
away. Do work your oracle, mate. Here we go, as I say.
Hi, Kitten. You all right?
Hello, Wayne.
Hi, Kitten. Hi. Have you had your cards done? Have you had your cards done before?
No,
No. All right. Is there any particular reason you wanted your cards read, or just things? I mean, did you have a particular question in mind, or was it more of a particular area of your life?
I'm going through some changes at the moment. It'd be interesting to see what the cards throw up as in terms of, what maybe to expect in the future. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, what we'll do then is I'm going to start off tonight with just three cards, and the
Okay.
first card, this is for everyone else, just so everyone else knows as well. The first card will be for the recent past, the second card, the present, and then the third card for the near future. And we'll see how that kind of
Okay.
fits together, and what jumps out. All right.
All
And
right.
I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to shuffle the. going to shuffle the card here, and if you just follow my instructions, and what I'm going to do is I want you to focus, just see in your mind's eye, just see an area of your life in your mind, or think about a question. Just try and have some kind of picture in your mind of something, and just focus on that. And then while you're doing that, just drop the card out there. I'll just take notice of what that was. And then I just want you to tell me when to stop. And the first card is for the recent past. Just tell me when to stop.
Okay.
What?
I can't see what you're doing.
Just say stop.
Okay, stop.
Yeah, just tell me when to stop.
Oh, stop. Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
All right. No, you don't need to see. You just need to tell me when to. You just need to tell me when to stop. All right. Now, again, just focusing on what you're focusing on. The next card is for more for the present situation. While you're thinking about that, again, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Stop. Okay. And again, just concentrate. And next card is for the near future. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Brilliant. All right. You've got the. Can you actually see what I'm holding up there? Can you see those?
Could you see them? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the page of rods and the three of coins. There's a similarity between both of those coins. Between both of those cards. This is very much to do with learning, to do with skills. The page of rods there, that's like learning through study or travel. You've got the this is like an apprentice. You see the card there? That's like the card of the apprentice. So it's like learning new skills, learning new abilities. So I wouldn't be surprised if if you've. I would have thought that you've been possibly learning something new, or you're thinking about learning something new. If that's not the case, I think that's certainly something which you do well to look at, because there's a lot here to do with new skills, new abilities, knowledge, learning. It's interesting, the card that dropped out though. When I was shuffling the card before, this one that just jumped out of the pack, just fell on the floor.
Okay.
This is. I feel as if. Do you ever feel like sometimes you're hanging, you're banging your head against a brick wall, or you're not making the headway that you want? There's a sense of what's the word? A sense of futility sometimes with this card.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that okay. It doesn't necessarily mean you're wasting your time. It just means that sometimes it might seem that way. And I think that maybe just you need to look at things from a different perspective, or try and find a different way to go about things. But generally, these are very, apart from that one I just showed you, you've got some very strong cards on the table in front of you here. That's you're moving into that over the coming months, the Queen of Cups card. That's showing more emotionally. Emotionally, I feel that you're becoming. If you look at the next 3 to 6 months, it's as though you're becoming more content in an emotional sense. I think both as regards. Satisfaction as regards your general direction in life, but also when it comes to other people around you as well, friendships and relationships. I just feel that over the coming 6 months or so, it's like I would expect you to be feeling a lot more settled within yourself. Was there anything you wanted to ask me at all? Did that make sense? What I was saying about what I was
Yes,
saying
it did.
before
Yeah.
about learning or studying?
Learning a little bit. Yeah. I'm looking to take up a new hobby, but I don't really want to elaborate at the moment. Not for you, for just in general. I don't want to
I
elaborate just
mean,
yet.
was there a decision you were trying? Was there a decision you were trying to make that I can maybe look at for you? So, was there a question at all, or something you wanted to look at in some more detail if anything comes up? Or did you have a
Um,
question, or you're not sure?
not a specific. It's more like, will I be okay? Which I think is a little bit vague. But that's how I'm feeling right now. Is everything going to be okay? That's really what's going on in my head right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I really do. Feel positive about these cards. Despite that one that just jumped out of nowhere. I really mean that. They're such positive cards together. If anything which you've been thinking about learning, or studying, you mentioned the new hobby there, didn't you? I
Yeah.
really think that's something. I really do think that's something which you should be going ahead with. And I don't know if you're planning on, turning that into something which you could make some money out of, but I certainly think that would be, that could be a possibility for you. I'm just going to put one more card down on top of the. I'm just going to put one more card down on top of the three of coins. All right. I'll just do that myself. Hang on a second. I'll just pull the Empress out and also the Queen of Rods. You got the Page of Rods, Queen of Rods, the Empress. All of these cards are very creative. The Empress is a very creative card. The Rods in general is all to do with creativity, and I do think there's a very creative side to your nature, and anything. I think it would be particularly good if something that you're thinking of doing is something which is creative. It allows you to express more the creative side of your nature.
Okay.
I really think you'd get something out of being more creative or doing something creative.
Okay.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
do you understand what I was saying there? Would you do you do
Yeah.
you do you feel you'd like to be creative, or do you feel you're creative at all?
I do get told that I'm quite creative. I think that's a matter of opinion, though, isn't it? Nobody ever feels they're any more creative than the next person, but I do get told that I'm quite creative. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are.
Thank you.
I mean, did you get the did you get the main points of did you get the main do you get the main points of what I said there? Was there's nothing you wanted to ask me then? You're okay, yeah? Did you get the
Yeah,
main
I
points of
think
what I
that
said?
yes, yeah. I think I've my sort of the not too distant future. There are going to be some changes that are quite scary for me, and I'm hoping that they're going to work out. So yeah, that was really sort of my imminent concern. Yeah, yeah, feels good, feels
Yeah,
positive.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying there's not made. I'm not. Sorry, what were the words you used? Did you say big changes or major changes? What were the words you just used to me for me?
I don't remember now. I've got some changes that
Yeah,
are sort of up and coming, and yeah, they're sort of imperative changes.
yeah, um, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not saying there's not big changes coming. Obviously, obviously, that there are. But what's noticeable here is there's not actually anything which is too chaotic, which is actually coming up in the cards at all. I do think that Page of Swords card is more to do with how you handle things yourself, and a need to go about things a little bit differently. I do think there's a lot of positive things which you've actually got, which you've actually got going at the moment. And I'd really, go ahead with those plans. Don't hold back.
I think I have
I
got a
just think
question
things
for you,
like
actually.
yeah, okay,
For these
go
changes
ahead.
that are going to happen, I am worried that I may have to change my job, and I don't really want to do that. Is there anything you could is there anything you can see there?
I not really, but I don't. I think that might be. I think that could turn out to be a positive thing for you. I think you need to look at how you can, you know, I think you need to, as I said, express your creativity more, but also you need to be getting, I think, more fulfillment out of what it is that you're doing. And I wouldn't, I don't think you should be overly concerned if you do have to change your job. I don't think you should be overly concerned about that. I think that could possibly turn out to be a positive thing for you. I think it's something that might happen, but I don't think it's a bad thing. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think maybe you're worrying more than you need to be.
Perhaps.
So you know, to try not to worry, but you know, try not to worry.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Wayne.
All right, Kitten. Thanks very
Okay.
Lovely
much.
to speak to you.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Kitten,
And
if you'd like to,
you
if you'd like to stay in the,
take
sorry,
care.
I didn't mean to talk over you, Wayne. I'm
No, that's all
terribly
right.
sorry. That was very rude of me. I'm terribly sorry.
No,
If you'd like to stay in the green room, Kitten, and
Yeah.
we can have a little general chat after Wayne's done the readings, and if anything comes to mind, you can bring that up afterwards. So,
Oh,
if
okay.
you'd like,
Okay then.
okay. So
Thank
we're now
you.
going
yeah.
to. So are we finished now? We Kitten, and we got to go on to our next reading. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Who are you
Okay.
asking? Yeah.
Is that all right?
Okay. Is there anything? Remember, by the way, you got a lovely compliment from someone called Nathan
Yes, I did see
Lucius.
that.
Kitten,
Thank
you
you,
have a
Nathan.
lovely
It's very
voice.
kind of you.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a nice compliment, isn't it?
It is.
So
Thank you. Yes.
there we go. So now, as I say, it's entirely up to you. If you'd like to stay in the green room, we can have a little
I shall
chit
do
chat.
that. Yeah, I
Okay.
shall do that.
Right.
Thank you.
So we'll see you a little bit later, and we are now going to introduce our next reading, which is Steve. Good evening to you, Steve. This is Wayne. Wayne, Steve,
Hello,
Steve,
Wayne.
Wayne, and Steve wants a tarot reading, so there we go. So far away, and we might have another person coming in who's desperately trying to get on linked up, but is having problems getting on here. So that's why I've been looking down and typing and doing all kinds of things trying to get him in. So there we are. So far away.
Yeah. By the
Hello,
way,
Wayne.
oh, hi, Steve. Yeah. I did say. Obviously, I said hello briefly earlier on when we did the introduction. But hello to everybody in chat. And I did see a couple of things come up on the screen. I think somebody said hello to me, but obviously I can't really look at that while I'm talking. But hi to everyone in chat. And
Yes, there's a question
yeah.
as well. So what we'll do after Wayne's done the reading of Steve, there's a few more other people in the green room. We're all gonna have a giant. We're gonna have a chinwag after that. Okay, and we bring up the questions and that. No, the sound's going a bit funny, so I'll let you go on.
All right. Do you just want to knock your picture out for a second, Chris? For me, is that all right? Chris, thanks. Hi, Steve. Was there anything? Was there anything in particular that you wanted to? Was there anything in particular that any particular reason you wanted a reading, or any question that you had? What was your reason for wanting a reading today?
There's nothing that I can pinpoint specifically. Just I'm kind of in a state of just kind of floating around at the moment. I haven't done anything for the last kind of probably about 20 months. I kind of left my job in kind of unfortunate circumstances, and I've kind of been surviving, but spending a lot of time seemingly doing nothing. But I'm not really doing nothing. I've been trying to get to grips with what's going on in the world and all that sort of stuff. And I just want to try and get a handle on where things are going, kind of thing. For me specifically,
Okay, yeah. I just all right then. So I just want you to just so just maybe close your eyes for a moment and just
Yeah,
just
done
have a
that.
think. Just have a think about your life. It helps you think if you think just to yourself about a particular question. You don't have to ask me what it is. Now, when we do this with people, I mean, sometimes that question might come up. Sometimes it might not come up, but it does tend to stop the cards from from being random, or they're never truly really random. But it does help if you're actually focusing on if you try and actually focus on something. And then I want you to just tell me when to stop, and the first card's for the recent past again, like we did before with Kitten. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, that's a good start. And the next card is for your present situation. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. And again, just while you're thinking about whatever you're thinking about, tell me when to stop for the near future.
Stop.
Okay. All right. There's reasons to be optimistic here, Steve. The star is very much it's literally it's the star of hope. All right. So there is certainly something to be possibly thinking about something here and very uncertain about it, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be optimistic. You need to make sure that you are a very naturally independent person, but you need to be doing more, I feel, with other people. In the months ahead, there's a sense of teamwork here. You see this? See that card there? That's like coming
Yeah.
together with other people. Like-minded people doing things with other people, and that can
Is that
really
the Four of
bear.
Rods? Is it?
The Four of Rods, yeah. So you need people around you who you can really relate with, and I do think that it might be a new project which maybe you're thinking about doing, and I would suggest that you try and link up perhaps with other people. Let's have a look at that for me. I'm just going to put another card on top of that one. Just picture that card in your mind. No, it's actually the dropping all my cards here. Oh. It's the Queen of Rods card. Tell me when to stop, and I'm going to put another card with that one.
Stop.
I feel there could be a woman around you here who's very, who's very positive influence, in your life. There's there's the Six of Cups here. This is like being able to share things, emotionally. Having someone who's really supportive, towards you. Can I just ask you? Are you in a relationship, Steve?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, I just think this woman is a very positive person. Is a very positive influence in your life. I'm seeing. I'm getting the Seven of Cups card. I'm seeing in my mind. The confusion. It's like you need to prioritize. I feel that you're actually trying to do. It's like choose one dream at a time. Do you ever? You know, it's like it's like sometimes you try and it's like you're starting something and then stopping and then maybe moving on to something else and having a go. I'm guilty of this myself, and
that defines
like
me to a T.
It's just like doing one
That
thing and then
defines me
stopping
to a
and
T.
saying, I'll
Yeah,
have a
that's
go.
right.
I'll have a go.
Yeah.
I'll have a go at this thing over here, and the more you do that, the more confusing I think it gets. So I think maybe just try and possibly try and sort out your priorities a little. In general, try and sort out your priorities a little bit. But when it comes with actually what you're wanting to do, maybe choose one thing and you know, to start off with, and you know, listen to your intuition, and just go for one thing initially, and just give it chance to actually and just give it chance to actually get off the ground, and try not to chop and change all the time. And it is really important and I think it is really important, as I said, to have people around you who you can relate with, who you can relate to, and I think that's particularly the case with you know, in the months ahead. You know, don't don't do things in isolation, you know, all the time. There might be a tendency to be overly independent and not let other people in. Does that make sense?
That absolutely makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, is there anything you wanted to ask me at all, or anything or anything you want to try and get some more detail in on, if possible?
I don't think so. The two main points that you just made there make absolute sense to me. Yeah.
All right. See, okay, or is there anything more you want to ask me? Are you sure you're all right?
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Thank you. Yeah, no, that's great.
I should have. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, go on. You go on.
Oh, I was going to say, do you want to come back there? Do you want to come back there, Chris? A moment. Where's he gone?
Here we go. I'm back.
Here he comes.
Yeah, I was going to say what we were going to do tonight, which we haven't really done yet, is we were going to let people know. You know, we thought it'd be interesting to let people know which are the major arcana cards related to their star sign, didn't we? What star sign are you, Steve?
Libra.
Excuse me. Libra.
Have
you got that? Have you got that graph of the major arcana cards there, Chris?
Yeah, sure. Just one moment. Right, is that the one you're talking about? Is that it?
Yes.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah. If you're Libra, Steve, yours is the Justice card, which is next to the Wheel of Fortune. Next to the Wheel of Fortune, there, second, second row down. Can you see it? Yeah. So the Justice card.
Which one along?
On the right of the Wheel of Fortune, Justice. It says there, number 11. All right. So that's.
I'm on a very small screen here.
Yeah, me as well. Yeah, so that's to do with, you know, balance, fair play, you know, needing, you know, I do think you're probably a person who needs that sense of equilibrium in your life. I don't think you're that happy when things are, you know, when things seem to be all over the place. You need that sense of stability. And
which card along is it in that row?
From
1, 2,
3, 4. Second row down, fourth along.
All right, the one with a lot of red in it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that
that's
one.
it.
Yeah.
And the Kabbalistic symbol is an ox goad. And if you don't know what that is, I never used to know what that was. I wouldn't be surprised. An ox goad apparently is it's a device which goes on an old-fashioned plough, which to
right,
keep
yeah,
the
yeah.
plough from moving from side to side.
Yeah.
So that's your Kabbalistic symbol, is the ox goad.
All right. Great. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. All right, Steve. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Speak to you later.
No worries. Okay.
Right. So shall we get everybody on the show now? So we'll welcome back in Kitten. Hello,
Hello.
Kitten. And I've noticed we've been having a private chat here with Survival Steve. Good evening. You got your microphone muted.
No, I was just
Well, I
miming.
Well, I'm afraid, Wayne, I can say this now. Your sound has been up and down like a tart's drawers, and I've been having nothing but trouble trying to get your sound levels right. But we've got a lot in chat. We've got Nathan might be on a little bit later. And we got a lady that's asking, I don't know who this is directed to, I want to see his cat. What? That's what I want to ask.
Whose cat?
Oh, bloody cat, I don't know.
Who's
My cat? I don't know.
Here's a
whose
cat.
Right. Oh, that's a nice pussy cat. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh.
Yeah.
What's he or she's name?
Twinkle.
Twinkle?
Yeah.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Ah, isn't that
Exactly.
nice? Ah. But my parents, before I was born, had a cat called Fluff. And this is a female cat. And when my sister was born, she's much older than me, it used to be very protective towards her. And in those days, they used to leave the pram outside the shops when they went shopping. And the cat used to stand guard on the top of my sister and in the pram. And one day, a bulldog went shooting across the road towards the pram, and the cat went, and the dog skidded as it did a U-turn. That's guts for a cat. That is a bloody great bulldog coming towards it. Anyway, Steve, you were saying quite a few things. Should we say arcana, Steve, about kittens, and you know, because you're into cards as well, aren't you? You do readings.
Yeah, I've got tarot cards. I've got a pack of cards called the Witch's Tarot. I don't know if Wayne's familiar with those ones. Mine are quite small. As an example,
is it?
oh, that's a bad card to show to the world. There, I've made up for it. That's my pack of cards. Now I must confess. Say again.
I was going to say that there's probably some new decks come out the last few years. I do have a Witcher's one, but I don't know how old it is. How old's that one? Is that quite?
I'm going to guess 5 or 6 years old. Say again.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a Witcher's one, but I don't think it's the same as that one.
Yeah, some lovely artwork on them. I mean, all the tarot cards for me have got some fantastic artwork on. Obviously, richly symbolic, but I do find these, if I was to put them back a little bit, these are normal playing card size, and I do struggle to see some of the detail within them. So if anyone's in the process of thinking about getting some, I'd maybe go for a bigger pack. Something a bit bigger so you can see the detail better. But I did pull 2 cards out while Kitten made a point there. She wanted a question answered, or she had a question. Anyway, while I was shuffling through the deck, the Magician fell out, and I thought that was significant. And that's a card kind of manifesting the will of your desire, putting things into action. And another one that came out was, again, I don't know if you can see that, the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is kind of a decision kind of card, you could say. It's I put a little description in the chat for Kitten. I don't know if you just picked it up. I presume so.
Yeah.
So, in other words, with will and determination, she could probably achieve whatever goal she was seeking with her new ambition, perhaps.
Yeah, interesting. I like it.
By the way, people might think I live in a Ponzi house. It's a green screen, actually. It's not my house behind it. It's just a projection screen. People might think, blimey, he lives in a smart place, doesn't he? No. But now, I believe that Ronald Reagan used to have tarot readings, and there's quite a few famous people that's used a lot of this. I'm not sure about Churchill, not sure about Mr. H, but I know I know Ronald Reagan was very much into it, and I think allegedly, I believe, Sherry Blair. Does anybody else know anything about that at all? Ronald Reagan and Sherry Blair.
I don't know about Sherry Blair or Ronald Reagan, but it wouldn't surprise me considering he lived at number 666 St. Cloud Road in Bel Air. And if you, he's got three names, Ronald Wilson Reagan, with 6 letters in. But Hitler apparently used an astrologer. So if he used an astrologer for his key decision making, I'd imagine he had some sort of tarot divination perhaps at his disposal.
Yeah. Now, we've got a question here from That's Life, but not as we know it. Is there anywhere the oldest cards can be viewed? Thank you and good evening. So that's life, but not as we know it. So that's a question. Anywhere where the oldest cards can be.
Some of these Visconti decks I was mentioning. You mean the actual decks? I presume the colour means.
Well,
they're in various museums. They're in various museums, and I saw one online a couple of days ago. But I'm sorry, I can't recall which museum offhand. But the Visconti decks are in various museums, or what's left of them.
Have they ever found anything?
Just Google tarot decks museum, and you'll probably get it.
Yeah. Have they found them in the Egyptian temple? What do you call it? Burial chambers and things like that. You know, did Tutankhamun have a deck of cards near him? I know they did have cards, didn't they? The Egyptians, ancient Egyptians.
There aren't any cards found. There aren't any tarot found before the mid 15th century, as I said.
It's weird.
You know, that's why historians insist they're not any earlier, just because they haven't found any. But of course, that doesn't mean anything. It just means they haven't found any.
But it might be they used something else instead of cards. They might have used some other. I mean, was it the Nordic things? They used some
runes. You mean runes?
That's it. Come in. That's the one. Runes. As opposed to prunes, and then you certainly would get a result if you had prunes, wouldn't you? You know, oh yes, you got to eat 3 prunes. Oh dear, you know, always ruin that. Yeah, runes. So, or the prunes, if you want. So, didn't they use them for, you know, for doing this type of thing, or was it just a form of writing? I'm
the Egyptians.
About, no, it was the Vikings. They used runes.
The Vikings used runes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they use that?
I think didn't the priests and priestesses didn't they do things with the Egyptian pharaohs?
I don't know. I wasn't there actually. I know I look old, but I'm not that old, you know. Actually, I could nip across to the White Witch shop because there's a White Witch shop, and ask them, you know. And Now let's have-
I didn't
hang on.
ask you, Kitten. What star sign are you, Kitten?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. You're the temperance card. Do you want to show Kitten her card there, Chris?
Hang on a minute. Where we
Chris?
go? Yeah, hang on. I'm getting there. Right. Right. Here we go. Am I there?
Which one is it? Which one is it?
I don't know. Wayne, which one is it? Oh, hang on.
Temperance, which is second row,
Steve's holding it up. Was it?
second row down, and next to the last one there.
Oh yeah.
So next to the devil
Oh, yeah,
card,
yeah,
second
yeah.
row down.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
similar to Arcana
yeah.
and Steve. Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
that's so that's to do with equilibrium, healing. It's to do with different kind of connections, like connection between the past and the present. Needing to look to the past sometimes to understand the present.
Steve, you got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve just showed it.
And,
Yeah, I think it's clear if Steve shows it.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. Yeah.
Can you see that
and
better?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Yeah.
and your symbol is a crutch or a prop. So that's
Alright.
a crutch or a prop. That's the symbol for Sagittarius and for that card.
Yeah.
So with things like that, you just have to you just have to use your intuition to see what that means to you. So obviously that can mean a lot of things, can't it?
But,
Yes.
Now we've got a very nice. We got here Daisy 4Z44 says, "Love the Geordie accent, Acadia John Steve, and love the fake awake mug." Hang on a minute, I'll just show the fake awake mug. There it is. You see, do you do presentations? Oh, that's a good question, isn't it, mate? And when's the next one? Right. So that right. So far away.
Well, yes, my next presentation is on the 24th of January. I'm not sure what day of the week that is, actually, which isn't
Hang
good.
on.
I hope I get it right. But
It's 24th of
it's the
January.
24th of January.
Hang on.
I'll have to pick a card to see when that is. It's
Friday. Friday.
Is it? All right, thank you. It's a double act. It's me and Nathan Lucius giving a double bill of occult presentations. Mine's entitled Transition to Tyranny, to give you a flavour of what that's about. I hope Daisy 44 can attend. It's in Gosforth in Newcastle. So, yeah. Oh, actually, it's a Burns night as well, so we're having a Burns supper, which is haggis, tatties, and meat.
The Burns night is the 25th.
Yeah, but we're kind of Burns
Cheating.
night celebration early. I'll obviously just be consuming the whiskey.
Therefore, you're on a sonsy face. If you need someone to do the poem, I'm your man.
Oh, well, I can detect an accent there, so.
Yeah.
Yes. It's from the northern
Was there anybody
northern
else?
Isles of Fogham. Sorry, Wayne. Carry on. Is anybody else?
Yeah, I just wondered if there was anyone else lined up for a reading at all.
Not yet. No, I think the other poor sod's still trying to get through.
Okay.
I've been trying to get them through, but not much luck. Shall we say, I've given up. Now we got here, Krista Gardner said, Ronald Reagan was a sadistic pervert. I know that, allegedly, so you believe. Was he really? And,
Hi, Chris.
as Chris and Leviticus Shovit said, got the tarot of the witches, the Jimmy Bond ones. That's interesting. And
Yeah.
I used to learn the and Stephen Truthseeker says,
I was just going to say, no, I was just going to say,
So what are you going to say? I
So
used to
we're
learn.
talking over each other here, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay. Far away. What are you going to say, Wayne?
No, I was just going to say hello to the last person you had on the screen there who mentioned the James Bond cards. I was going to say I've got those cards as well. I'm a big James Bond fan. Did you see Leviticus? Did you see? I like the scene in the James Bond film with the tarot cards where he seduces Jane Seymour by having all the he has a deck which is all the lovers cards. Have you seen that scene? Anybody?
No.
Yeah.
He's got a whole deck of the lovers. He tells her to pull a card out, and then he's kissing her, and then he drops the cards on the floor. It's a whole deck of all the same card. I just saw that the last few days
Now, Stephen
online.
Trishik said,
I saw that clip. Good one.
I used to learn the elder, I beg your pardon, Foucault. I said that politely. And tarot, but gave it up once I became homeless. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Now, Leviticus, sorry,
Hi, Stu.
Nathan Lucius says, the name of my talk is About Time. Well, I suppose it is really. Isn't it?
All right. Excellent. I'll get that advertised.
Brilliant. How do I book? Well, you send 20 fock bobs to me, and then no. And, now she's, that's nice, isn't it? 24, transition to tyranny. Here we go. Then we got here, film them, barefoot forager, film them. Does the next presentation have anything about playing cards?
Not my talk, but it's got lots to do about the government.
Yeah. It says here, first quarter, yes. As for recording presentation, right, there it is. Now, when I put this question out generally, do you think governments, military, or anybody that they have used, because I know that a lot of the military have used chess to work things out years ago. I'm talking about the Middle Ages now. But do you think that, I know that, I definitely it was Ronald Reagan that consulted the shall we say, people, looked into the future and things like that. And Nancy Reagan was into it. And there's a lot of strange things that do actually happen. Hang on, we got somebody else coming online. So, hang on. Oh, they're gone. It might have been the person I tried to bring on earlier. There's somebody called Franziska. They went and they came and they went. So, no.
I think at the highest levels, in the dark corridors of power, there'll be dark occultists using various divination tools and various occult theorems to work out when and where to conduct the next ritual.
Well,
but
we've got. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know anybody other than me in the entire British Army who would use tarot cards. To be fair, and I don't think it's something that's used in their planning criteria.
Well, I don't know nowadays. You got Wally's in control, and we got here. Is the death card a good or bad card? I think I could answer that one, but
who's she picking it for?
It's the death card. It depends whether we some people use what's called reverse meanings. Okay, so a lot of people, when they shuffle the cards, they let the cards fall out, sometimes upside down, sometimes the right way up. All right. Well, after I'd been doing the cards for a few years, I came to the conclusion that it was just a lot easier just to read the cards all the same way up. Because when you put a card, because I sometimes use quite a lot of cards. Now, when you put a card on top of another card to get some more detail, that will tell you whether that card is more the negative aspects of that meaning, or whether it's more the positive side of that meaning. All right. So so the death card, if you're using upright meanings, which is how which is what I normally do, the death card is generally it's pretty neutral. It's to do with sweeping changes. In the deck I use, there's a big scythe there, and there's a rose which is opening out. So it's like sweep. So the scythe is like sweeping away the past, and the rose is like new life. New beginning. All right. So unless you had a particularly dire card on top of that, I would say generally, that's a change which to be embraced.
Well,
You've got several cards in the major arcana which are to do with change. Another one is the devil card. Chris, have you heard of a devil card?
no, but I have actually had the Hanged Man card, and that was a major change in my life. It was bang on. That was years ago. So
Yeah,
it did. Yeah,
it can be, but the hangman, but the hangman's more to do with more to do with making sacrifices. Yeah, the devil card. Just going back to the devil card. The devil card, like the death card, is to do with changes. But the thing with the devil card, it's more to do with other people. The devil card's to do with negativity, and it's particularly negativity coming from other people. So if the devil card comes up, that might be showing that you need to make change, but other people are perhaps holding you back, or other people's negativity is affecting your confidence and stopping you from making those changes and moving forward. So yeah.
We did have someone trying to get into the studio, but unfortunately they bounced out. And then went in again, then bounced out. And I've been trying to get somebody else into the studio. That's modern technology for you, isn't it, folks?
I've got a feeling I'm getting the impression, Chris, that you're beavering away there, aren't you, behind the scenes there, down on the desk?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that whilst you were talking, you've got a question to me, and I went, because I was trying to get this poor son on. Dave 4Z, or Daisy, I think he's 44, says, "Thank you, Wayne. That's nice, isn't it?" But there's. Have you thought a Kitten? Have you any questions for Wayne? Because he said, about changes in your life and things like that. So, have you any changes you could think of, or are you worried about anything?
Yeah, I was trying to go fairly quickly because we said about 10 minutes, didn't we? But we had no idea, of course, how many people were coming, did we, Chris?
Well, no, I mean, we're supposed to be another 2.
Sorry, go.
But I think their internet's gone, putting it bluntly, tits up. So I think they can get on, But no, I was going to say, Kitten or Steve, have you any further questions from your tarot card readings that you would like to have? Now, first of all, Kitten, have you got any further questions?
No, I don't think so.
About changes or anything like that, because there's a lot of change cards there, and it was very exciting that you got there.
Yeah,
and,
well, hopefully, yeah.
Yes, it is. And when you come up on the lottery, if I can have a few bob,
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be good. And hang on, there's Daisy come back, and she said, "Can Wayne do a reading for the world and possible outcomes, please?"
It's not. Sorry, I've took my glasses off, haven't I? Is that Daisy?
Yes.
I can't see a thing here now. I've taken my glasses off. It's not something that I do. It's not something that I do, Daisy. The way I work, I specifically, where possible, look at the person that's in front of me, and I'm looking 6 months to a year, because I feel that's by doing that, that's allowing somebody to make the changes in their own life. So I use the cards as more of a tool for guidance more than anything else. When it comes to world events, it's never something that I've looked at. I mean, the closest I came to, I mean, back in the mid 90s, I had a strong realization or feeling that of where we were heading. Not specifically the plague saga, but I did very much feel that that the idea was to have everybody indoors, preferably not going outside at all. No travel, very much a totalitarian state, and what have you. And I very much felt that, from since the mid 90s, and used to tell everyone, was told I was barking mad. But when they introduced the lockdowns, the first thing I thought this is that, this is the first stages of wanting to keep, this is like a trial run, it's like keeping everyone at home, not preventing people from going out and what have you. But I didn't see that in the tarot cards. It's just a feeling that I had, and and you remember the space shuttle? I might have mentioned to you this before, Chris. What was the space shuttle that exploded in the air?
Challenger. I think it was Challenger in 1986, wasn't it? That was the one that exploded.
Yes.
Yeah, I was asleep in the living room. I'd fallen asleep, and I actually saw in my dream, like I don't know if you remember the shape of the Challenger exploding. It was some strange. It was like a chicken. It looked like a chicken in the air. The shape of the smoke, and I saw that chicken shape. I saw it exploding in the dream, and that chicken shape. And then a couple of minutes later, when I woke up and I saw it on television, the explosion was exactly the same as I'd seen in my dream. But but generally, it's not something I like to do, or something that I do. Looking at future world events. That was a long-winded answer, that wasn't it? But there you go.
I don't know. Matilda has said the death card means a change, the death and rebirth of something. That's how it's explained to me. Depending on where it sits in the cards, that's what you said. Are around it.
Yeah.
Yes. But,
in fact, actually, on the in the Morgan, is it Morgan Greer tarot? No, in the Lord of the Rings tarot. So I just talk amongst yourselves. No, there's actually an egg. The Lord of the Rings tarot, which my friend designed, my old friend. There's actually an egg on the death card.
Yeah,
which is interesting, isn't it? An egg.
But how do you feel about the old gypsies way they used to read the tea leaves? Because when I was a kid, we used to have gypsies knocking around the door and selling clothes pegs, which are all hand carved. I still got one somewhere. Very clever. And they used to carve them over the winter period and then sell them in the springtime. And they used to earn money going in, and people were always worried about was it gypsy curses, but I don't think they had anything to worry about because they're quite nice people. And there was a gypsy. There was a widower up the road to where I lived when I was very young at the time. I was only about 6, 7, and she read his tea leaves and she said, "You will meet a nice young lady, and you will marry, and you'll be happy." And he thought, "That's a load of old rubbish." Sure enough, it came true. And he met a young lady who was about half his age, and they married, and they were very happy together. And so, interesting. Yeah. So, what was this
That's
card
the
you're
death card in the Lord of the Rings. That's the death card in the Lord of the Rings. And you see and there's an egg there in the middle. You see the egg?
Yeah.
In the middle of the card at the bottom, there's an egg. Yeah, an egg for rebirth.
Oh. Now, we've got
here,
hang on. That's fantastic. That's interesting. Hang on. We've already had that one.
On the gypsy thing, Chris, everyone, we used to, where I grew up, we used to have we were next to a big field, and once a year we used to have I think it was around May Day, there was a fair. There was like a traveling fair, and there used to be somebody there doing cards, and you had all the fairground rides and what have you. And as kids, we used to play around all the caravans and watch them set up all the rides and what have you. You know, so so I was fascinated by all that when I was a kid, with the traveling fair and the gypsies basically right on our doorstep once a year. And I'm from Blackpool originally. I don't know if I've told you that. I've probably told you that before, but you know, so obviously Blackpool as well on the seafront. You know, you know, you have you used to have the old style, old style gypsies. You know, on you know, families that have been doing it for generations on the excuse me. But I used to know someone. I used to work with someone who used to do the tea leaves. She was a Turkish lady, and she used to do Turkish tea leaf.
Can I draw back to Daisy's question? She asked about how do you see the world taking shape, and as Wayne will tell you, this card here, if you can see that, that is actually the world card on the major arcana. This is my deck, the Witch's Tarot. So again, the pictures might be different on other decks, obviously. But what this is card 21. Essentially, it's the last card, or the penultimate card of the 22. The card 0 is the Fool, which I'll present next. The reason I'm showing that is because this is where the journey of the world starts from the Fool's journey. The guy who inexperienced, knows nothing. He's ambitious and sets out on an adventure through the 22 pathways. And again, that number is reflected in the pathways of the Sephiroth of the Kabbalistic tree, because it's essentially describing the same thing, the cycle of life, or the cycle on the wheel of truth, which is what some claim the word tarot actually means. And the wheel of truth, or the wheel of Tara, or the wheel of tarot. Tara was the god associated with law and instructions. And again, we've heard that name before. It's a woman's name, Tara. Tarot. The word tarot actually also describes the word rota, as in rotation, as in cycle. That links to another Latin term, which is arot. Again, it's the same spelling, A-R-O-T, same as Torah or tarot, or rota. And what that means is it's a Latin term which means to cultivate and to grow. So that's arot, to cultivate, to grow on the cycle of life. This also links to another word, which is ator, or if you understand Egyptian mythology, it's Hathor. Hathor was the goddess of love. So you could say essentially what this leads to is the tarot is the wheel that cultivates understanding of the laws of Hathor, the laws of love, or another way to put that in a kind of a more modern or simplistic terminology is tarot helps to cultivate order by natural law focused on love. This is, if you go outside of the divination side of it, this is what this cycle suggests. Again, I don't know if that makes much sense to anybody listening in. This number 22, by the way, go on, I'll let you guys speak.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to
doing
say. No, when when I say I don't look at I don't use things like this to look at world events. I don't feel I need to look at things like this to know world events. I tend to agree with, not using my intuition, I tend to agree with what David Icke says, and that's once you know what basically they're planning, you know what you're going to get if it's not stopped. You know, it's easy to predict something when you know where things are heading. You know, and if you don't want them to head that way, then we've got to stop things from heading where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that just mirrors in the statement I made, which is about cultivating our cycle through the journey of life with the focus upon natural law and under the law of Hortha, which is love. You know, and if you can follow that kind of directive through your journey from being this guy, the fool, to accomplishment of the cycle, reaching the world, which is about completion, then you can't go far wrong. Just to bring back those numbers again, we'll mention 22, the 22 cards in the major arcana, 22 roots through the Sephiro on the Kabbalistic tree, but that also links as well to the 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, which is the essential language of God, essentially, written in the Torah, which is a very remarkable word, remarkably similar word to tarot, Torah, which means law or instructions. But there's also 22 bones in the human skull, where your tablets are housed carrying those instructions. So there's some interesting numerology in that.
That is fascinating.
Yeah,
because Matilda's been sorry, Wayne. Yeah, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, the symbol, the Kabbalistic symbols for the star signs for the major arcana, which I mentioned before, those symbols are based on the Hebrew letters. That's where the pictures or the symbols come from. They're loosely based on the actual shape of the letters. Go ahead, Chris. What were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, going into chat, we got Matilda said the Knights Templar referred to the cards for major life decisions, and Barefoot Forager says, "Do you have a spirit team, Wayne?" So that's a question for you. Do you have a spirit team? And also, I think I'll put that to Steve as well. So, do you have spirit teams? So, far away.
Honest answer, I've been told I do. I couldn't tell you, but I couldn't actually tell you about anyone specifically. I mean, the way, as I said before, I think I touched on earlier on, everybody's different and the way everybody works different. I sometimes hear words or phrases, or I see other tarot cards which aren't actually on the table. So, but I can't tell you whether that's coming from some guide or whether that's coming from my psychic faculty or whatever. I'm not sure it really matters. So, yeah. So that's all I can tell you there. But I've been told there's people standing next to me, but I couldn't tell you that.
What about yourself, Steve? Do you reckon you got spirit guides and things like that?
I'd not rule it out, but I ain't seen any. But I'll be quite honest. It's not something that I'm aware of, in all honesty.
Now, we got Matilda said an egg equals birth. And we got, and when you pulled the Fool card, it says the Fool takes risks. And then she mentioned, as you've been mentioned, the Torah. And Matilda said, doesn't the High Priestess, I think that's hold, the Torah? So,
well, let's have a look.
Yes, makes sense.
On some decks.
Yes. Now this is interesting one. Hachi says, to stop what's on the way, we need posse comitatus. What on earth's that? Is it something you take tablets for or something, or ointment? Excuse my ignorance. I think, is it Latin? I don't know.
It sounds
Anybody
Latin,
know?
but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We need POSSE, then COMITATIS. Steve, anybody, Kitten, know what it means?
No, I don't
It's
know.
definitely there's definitely something that happens in America. It's obviously got something to do with the law, I think.
Yes, I think you got a point there.
Federal law that limits the use of military personnel to enforce domestic policies.
Now, on a completely different subject, we've got Sir Edward Skepford said they had no time lag from the moon to Earth in 1969. And Matilda said, and they used a landline to call the moon. That's right. Yes. That's right. But I think,
But also,
I think
the astronauts that were on the Challenger are all still alive. Well, 6 of them are still alive.
that's right. That's what I think. It's John Hamer has been looking at that, and
Yeah.
they're still alive. And isn't
Oh,
it amazing?
Have you seen? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? How they went to the moon and they can't go back again because they've forgotten how they did it. That's first time in history. There's been a scientific breakthrough and they've just forgotten all about it. Now Daisy 44 says, thanks Wayne and Steve, makes complete sense. Heritage Get Fucked says, Lion King. No, can't see. Is that anything to do with tarot cards? Don't know. Pass. And Stephen Truthseeker says, the hill of Tara, County Meath, Ireland. Don't know it. Never been to Ireland.
It's a it's a well popular Irish name, the Emerald Isle.
I've got family. Yeah. I've got family very near there.
Have you? It's interesting how it's called the Emerald Isle, and of course, emerald is the color of wisdom, as in the emerald tablets of Thoth.
That's interesting.
Yeah, can I? Did you just say? Yeah. You just said. You reminded me of something before. Somebody mentioned 1969, didn't they, in the moon?
Yes.
A moment ago, and you just reminded me. Yeah, very remiss of me. But when I was running through the when we're doing a brief overview of the cards there, I completely missed out the Thoth tarot. I didn't mention it, did I? We had that little list on the screen. I didn't mention the Thoth tarot, which is there. Now the Thoth tarot that was created between 1938 and 1943 by Aleister Crowley. So I don't know if any of you seen those before.
No,
I've not seen them.
And it was originally meant to take, the project was originally meant to take 6 months, and it ended up taking nearly 5 years and finished in 1943. And talking of path working again, Lady Frida Harris painted these for Crowley. And again, these are images which she saw while she was doing path working. So that's Aleister Crowley and Frida Harris's deck, which took 5 years, which wasn't completed in the end until 1943. But you reminded me that I'd missed that out because you mentioned 1969, and even though it was finished, even though the deck was completed in 1943, it didn't. Through various delays and problems, it didn't actually go into mass publication until 1969. Which sadly was after they'd both died. And I was thinking about that recently in 1969. I was thinking that because I remember the moon landing that possibly wasn't. I actually remember watching that as a little kid, Chris.
I do.
And
I was going to say, speaking of the moon, Speaking of the moon card means illusion. So perhaps there was a little taking the mickey out of us a little bit there when they said they landed on the moon. It was all an illusion.
Yes, I believe so. It's like these people stranded on this thing that's going around the world. I mean, I think they need emergency supplies of hairspray to keep their hair like this.
The ISS.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
The ISIS.
Did you ever see that when they're floating like this and suddenly something falls on the floor? Did you ever see that one? That's a classic.
That was Tim Peake.
Yeah. Now we got here. We got Barefoot Foreigner says rings like a bell. I think she's talking about the moon. Hollow. Can't get more than 4 kilometers into moon. Moon is fake and gay. I didn't know the moon was gay. The Death Star hanging out there. So the moon is fake and gay. Well, that's you learn something every day. Is that Ellen? And it says, not worried about using their deck. And then good riddance to what? I don't know. But now it says Alistair Crowley, yes. He was an advisor to Churchill. Crowley switched the number 9 card and the number 11 card around. That's interesting. And we got here Wolf Moon tonight.
I won't pretend. Yeah, there's several alterations. Crowley made to the deck. There's one of them is there's a prince and princess deck. There's a prince and princess card in the Crowley deck, which is unusual, which is something that he did.
Is that in place of the Empress and the Emperor, or is that something completely different?
Now,
no, it's in the court cards. It's in the.
All right.
Hachi says Alistair. Oh, sorry, Wayne. No, carry on. Sorry, I was chiming in.
No, it's in the court. It's in the court. It's in the court cards. Not in the minor arcana. There's a prince and princess, and I don't think there's a page.
Right.
Yeah.
It says here, Hachi says Alistair Crowley is one of the 5 original members of NASA. That's correct. Walt Disney was a member as well. Oh, sorry, yes, Walt Disney another. Sorry, you went on to that. Is Bernard Cribbins still doing the voiceover for the Clangers? And we got here Barefoot Forager says, anything you focus on tonight expands. That is correct. Our mind is exceptionally powerful. And this is why I personally think we could all imagine the situation as it is now. Imagine like an Eden where we are, where it's absolutely fantastic. And this scum that we got in power is just gone. Just gone forever. And if we did that en masse, the power of thought, I think it would change things. What do you think about this? Anybody? You know, what do you think? The power of thought. If we all just sat and on a particular day, just concentrated on things getting better.
Can I put my 2 pennies worth into that?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I'm all for the power of thought, because everything emanates from thought, and thought turns into emotions, and emotions then have to be finalized by putting them all into actions. So this is an important thing to consider. If you wanted to go deeply down the occult corridor and talk about something called the trivium and how it relates to something in religion called the Holy Trinity, i.e. an aspect of 3 parts, the male and the female give birth to the child, and the child represents action. So the male and the female are thoughts and emotion, and the child represents the force of action, which is the product of those 2 components. So I'm all for putting thoughts out into the world, but they have to be, there's more work to be done, unfortunately, other than just thinking about a good life ahead. We'll have to actually create that good life. That's my 2 pennies worth.
That's interesting. Anybody else? What do you think, Wayne, Steve, Kitten? Or Kitten,
Yeah,
Wayne, Steve?
if I can. Might be an opportunity for me to mention something if that's all right, Chris.
Yeah, certainly.
Which I was going to mention. We did as you we did yeah, we did some about this is more for people that are fairly new to the show, but we did some specials about a year ago, didn't we, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Last February. And I just thought it'd be you know, if quite a lot of people saw them at the time, if there is anybody that's new to the show, it'd be good. It would be great if you know, if anyone would be interested in looking at the specials that we did together. One of those was actually on the law of attraction, which is very much the power of thought, isn't it? So
Well,
as
that's
you
right.
know, Chris, so as you know, I very much believe that that actually everything, you know, it's a mental universe, I believe, and absolutely everything is it comes to us via the law of attraction. You know, everything comes to us, I believe, in line with our predominant thoughts. Now, as regards, you know, so that's in our own individual lives. Now, you were talking about world events, I think, weren't you?
Mm.
Now, as regards world events, the problem that I see there is the same thing applies. You know, things still come to us in line with our predominant thoughts, but it's the predominant thoughts and energy which is being put out all over the world. So it's all very well me and you and you know and people in chat, you know, thinking, you know, certain things, but if the mass of the world's population is thinking in one direction, then those will be the predominant thoughts and the predominant energy, the predominant vibration, which is affecting things on a world scale. So it still applies like it applies in our daily life. You know, I still believe we attract everything with our thoughts. But when you're talking about world events, the problem is it's getting everyone else to think in a particular, you know, you're fighting against everybody else's collective thoughts. I
This
believe.
is one of the reasons why
But
there's so many distractions put out in the news, for example. It's to keep. I mean, just look at the truth movement as a whole. There's a whole load of different beliefs and dichotomies going on there, just simply because we've got different understandings and experiences, and also because of the constant bombardment of daily distractions. It's hard to focus a unified thought, isn't it?
I agree, and that's deliberate. I'm positive it's
yeah,
deliberate because you think about it. I mean, someone I think it's Matilda has put a very interesting one here. It said Muslims pray regularly at specific times, all reciting the same verses. That's interesting, isn't it? And I actually do think that we think that well, I think thought is very powerful. I really do. But the trouble is, be careful what you wish for, because it can be misinterpreted. That's the other thing. For example, thought constitutes as energy, in my opinion. Um, Hence, ignoring the news. And Barefoot Foreigner has said 5% of population. That's all we need. I thought. Well, when you look at it, Chairman Mao actually got in running China with less than 5% support from the population. Less than 5%. Think about that. And Stalin got in and into Russia with less than 7% of support. Very, very small support. How do they do it? So that's quite interesting. So people don't realise that what little support they actually had. And Matilda said,
anybody
sorry,
does
hitch
want,
it. Sorry, you're saying, Wayne?
no, I just wanted to say briefly, yeah, if anybody does, if I can just mention the name, of a couple of those shows just very briefly. There was a Law of Attraction special. That's Law of Attraction special, which we did about a year ago, me and Chris.
That's right.
So, you know, a lot of people might, you know, may find that very interesting. We did Secrets of the Paranormal. And we did Secrets of the Paranormal 2, Truth Revealed. And the other special, the one other special which we did, was Cults, Secret Societies, Alternate Religions, What Lies Beneath. So those are 4 specials which Chris and I did together about a year to year and a half ago. But certainly Law of Attraction special is one to look at for anyone who's interested about about how we create things with our thoughts and our intentions. And they're all on your channel, aren't they, Chris?
That's right. Yes,
they're all there,
they're
all
all
the
on there.
videos.
Luckily, YouTube hasn't taken them down, so they're perfectly okay, perfectly safe. We didn't say anything naughty on there, so I think we're safe with that one. Now it says only one universal mind. It's interesting. Now it says this is interesting. Matilda says PPL, who are there and witness tell different stories. Sorry, I think I know what you're getting at. Who are they then? Sorry, witnesses tell different stories as the news does. Well, that's right. I mean, you get the police find this, an incident happens, and you get half a dozen people that witnessed it. They'll all tell a different story, and they're probably all seeing the same thing. It's very, very common. It's like Chinese whispers, and because you've heard the old joke, and apparently it's supposed to be. You must have heard it, Steve. And it's from the First World War when they used to have runners and that, and there was a message sent from the front: send up reinforcements who are going to advance. And by the time it got to HQ, it was send up reinforcements. We're going to a dance. That's supposed to be true. I don't know how true it is.
It's got to be true.
You just imagine with HQ. What's this? There he goes. We got the 101st Division in there, and they said send up 3 and 4 ones. We're going for a dance. Now we got here. What was it? Screams of corruption. Yes, we have corruption in high level. But, I mean, when you look at the Roman Empire, it actually destroyed itself on corruption. And all these empires do. They just get more and more corrupt. And we're going exactly the same. But I've noticed an increase.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Power corrupts, power corrupts absolutely. And with an interesting esoteric slant,
yes.
We've got President Trump in America, who's the 47th president, and that number links to the 47th problem of Euclid, which is a major Freemasonic theme. But moving aside from that, was a book written in, I believe it was the early 1900s by Ingersoll Lockwood, and it was called The Last President, and it pretty much describes America falling into massive decline and chaos. And the president's name in the book was Baron Trump, which is quite curious.
Wow.
Baron von Trump, in fact, he was a von Trump. He had a press secretary called Pence, and in some of these sketches drawn in the book, there's a young child who looks remarkably like Baron Trump when he was a young child, which is quite interesting. But if anyone understands the Roman god Janus, Janus was the two-faced god. Janus was associated with mirrors. He had a looking glass, as in Project Looking Glass. And with the looking glass, he could look into the past and make decisions for the future. But he oversaw the last throes of Rome. Now, if you imagine Trump is the epithet of Janus, doesn't that make things shape out to be quite interesting?
That's very interesting. That's fantastic. That really is. And it's a bit like the Titanic. There's a book written a couple of years prior called The Titan. And a bloke wrote a book about almost identical to what happened with the Titanic. But and Stephen Truthseeker says, and no private thoughts in the universal mind. And Rudrish Getfucked says, no mice around here by Chairman Matt. Meow. Sorry. And can we get, this is Barefoot Forager, can we get Steve a tarot reading since he's there?
Oh, do me a tarot reading.
Yeah.
As long as it's free.
Yeah. Do you want to do Steve's tarot? Because unfortunately, the other poor sods haven't been able to get on.
Oh, I was just going to say to you, Chris, I probably should have said earlier, a bit late, that we could have we could have actually pulled some cards for actually people in the tried pulling some cards for actually people in the chat room. Can you not get this person on? Is this person still trying to get on, Chris?
Well,
is there still somebody trying to get on?
Yeah, someone was it? I did read name out earlier. They came on, then but I was just about getting them into the studio, and they bounced off again. And then the second time they came in, and I was just about getting them on the studio, and bonk, they bounced out again. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. And the other person was actually in Telegram, wanted to come on, but don't know where they are, you know. So unfortunately, but I think that this will act. People will see what the system is, and a future program will. But you know, I think people are afraid of the unknown. You know, they think, well, what is this? You know, a tarot card reading. Will Wayne tell me, I don't know, will my left leg's going to drop off next week or something like that? You know? Which you're not allowed to do, you see. But yeah, and
that's a good point, Chris.
Yeah.
I was saying that's a good point, Chris. I think because I know there's been comments when we've mentioned the word tarot before in chat that you know, and I'm not going to paraphrase here, but you know, it's like it's the work of the devil, or you shouldn't meddle, etc., etc. There is a lot of. I'm just going to use the word religious hokum, with a lot of what would be classed as esoteric practices. And occultism in general, it's still, even in truth communities, it's still deemed to be something evil and something that's dark and shouldn't be meddled with. And again, I think some of these notions are quite erroneous, and they need to be challenged somewhat. Simply because the word occult, for example, all it means is hidden knowledge, hidden or secret knowledge. It relates to knowledge. Now, there's no way on earth can having too much knowledge be an evil thing. It simply doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You can use that knowledge for bad purposes. You can also use knowledge for good purposes, and that's the difference. And I've probably said this before, and as you did recently, Eric. A tool can be used, such as a hammer in a toolbox, can be used to destroy something, or it can be used to help create something. And it all depends on the will and the purpose and the actions of the. Yeah, he's got one to hand. God knows what he's going to do with it. But it all depends on the workman using it. So if that workman's got bad intentions, then bad things will result. If he's got good intentions, then good things will result. But having the hammer is ultimately going to be a beneficial thing. Without the hammer, you can't do much with it. So again, that's where we need to look at occult or esoteric sources of knowledge or understanding. I hope that helps.
I agree with you. It's a bit like what we were saying earlier about a gun. A gun in the hands of the wrong person is a bad thing, but in the hands of the right person, it's perfectly okay. It's all according who is using.
May I?
All. Certainly.
Yeah. Could I just take off from where Steve left off there, because that. And then if you like, I'll pull a couple of parts if you like. If you like, Steve. Yeah. No. The reason I had that. I'll be honest. The reason I've got that habit is it's strange that you should mention hammer. because I actually anticipated that. That I've not been looking in chat myself, but actually anticipated that very comment, that very question. So we were very much thinking along the same lines. You're quite right what you say about a cult. You know, it comes from the Latin. It's obscure, concealed, secret, you know, that kind of thing. And what we're really talking about is knowledge, which is usually hidden or concealed. And the occult as well is the study of hidden, concealed knowledge. And what you were saying about, you know, people saying these things are evil, you're quite right with and that hammer. I mean, you know, you use it to pull nails out of a piece of wood. You know, I put a picture up on the wall, you know, with it recently. Now, is that hammer evil? I mean, that'd be crazy to say that hammer was evil. It's a force, it's a power. As Steve said, it's a tool. You know, likewise, we've got electric in the room here, haven't we? You know, we've got the electric light. You know, electricity is a force of nature. You know, electricity gives us light, gives us heating. You know, we can cook our meals with electricity. But that same electricity can be used to kill a person in the electric chair. And you don't say the electric's evil. It's just a force of nature. It's a tool. You know, so there is a lot of generalization, isn't there? You know, a lot of wanting to put things into brackets. And when it comes to you know, Christianity, we were having a discussion off there, weren't we, Chris? And I was saying off there that the Bible is actually full of stories of prophets and prophecy, and the Book of Corinthians actually talks about, you know, more than once about prophecy being one of the spiritual gifts. You know, the whole passage about spiritual gifts, in which it mentions prophecy in the Book of Corinthians. So people very much tend to pick and choose as well, to fit in with, you know, to fit things in with their own, with what they want to believe, don't they? I think. Everyone's gone quiet.
The sound is going. I don't know what's happened with the sound. It's going. Absolutely, it's really awful, and I really don't know. I'm going to try and adjust your mic if you don't mind. I think it might be. Let's see if I can adjust it now. Is that might have stopped it? I think that's better. Can everybody hear me? I think in chat. I think I might have cracked the problem. Oh, it's coming back a bit. Well, we come to the end of the show now. So thank you very much for everybody. Wayne, Steve, Kitten, Steve, for coming on, and everybody in chat. We're sorry about the crap sound. I've tried to do something about it, but that's life. Anything you'd like to say to people in chat and the audience generally? Wayne?
Yeah, can I start?
Certainly, yeah.
It's
certainly.
It's great to see some of the faces in the green room here from people who have been in chat before. Steve and well, Kitten. I know it's only a photograph of a cat, but you get the drift. But you know, you've got a great audience, Eric. It's there's always some great comments and it's some nice light-hearted banter as well. So it's all good.
Thank you very much. And anything, Wayne, you'd like to say? Because whilst the sound holds out.
It should be all right now. I'm losing power. But I've just plugged it in. Yeah, no, I'd just like to say, you know, thank you for everyone for tuning in. You know, if you're still around afterwards, you know, Steve, we can still do that, maybe off air, and it'd be nice to chat to Kitten as well. maybe take up from where we left off. And just thanks for everyone for listening. And if I can just say, there's a great quote from a film. It's a case of name that film. Our future is not set. There is no fate there's no fate but that which we make for ourselves.
Good point. That is a nice one. That is.
Terminator.
That's right. Anything you'd like to
That's
say?
right.
Anything you'd like to say, Kitten? That's
No,
right.
it's been a pleasure. It's been lovely.
Thank you very much. And Steve, anything you want to say?
No, I'm all good. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, right. Oh, well, thank you everyone for coming. This has been an experiment, this show. And I think when you do the first show, you learn a lot from it. And what I've learned is trying to get people. We had 2 people trying to come on, but bouncing off all the time. So that's the problem. At least
it's a shame we did. It's a shame. It's a shame we didn't get more readings, but I'm happy to do it again if anybody wants.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. And I'll say this. I usually waffle like this whilst I'm finding the outro. Whatever happens. Well, first of all, sorry, I've forgotten what's going on next week. Next week, we're going to have the one and only John Hamer and Andy Ross, author John Hamer, on talking about Antarctica and their latest book about it. Something a bit weird's going on down there. Then on Monday, the 20th of January, we've got the Bowler Hat Farmer coming on. That will be a controversial one, I can assure you. And even though he doesn't know it yet, some bloke called Survival Steve is probably coming on the 26th of January.
Oh,
I haven't told you yet, though.
I better think of something interesting to say.
And I think we might be doing a survival one. And then we've got, on the 27th of January, a trust special. Someone that's an expert on trusts. No, not trusts as in... but trusts, and then we've got on the 2nd of February, is booked, is Sovereign Pete is coming on. So we've got a lot of interesting guests coming up. And just like to say thank you, everybody, for coming on air. And whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.
Bye.